Beruchim haboim, welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Mem Amud Beis, 12 lines from the bottom, at the 2 dots. Our Mishnah had taught us that the correct bracha for anything that is not a fruit that is growing on the tree or the ground will get the designation Shahakol Niya Bidvoroi. For example, meat, chicken, eggs, fish, cheese, etc. Then the Mishnah says there's a machlokas, however, about the following 3 items. On choymetz, noivlois, and govai. Vinegar, noivlois, the Gemara is going to explain what noivlois are, and govai, and locust, the Tana Kama says the bracha shehakol. On that, Rabbi Yehuda says you don't make a bracha on a klola. Our Gemara explains, val ha-noivlois. My noivlois, what is noivlois that the Mishnah is referring to? Rabbi Zera, Rabbi Eloi, Chadamar Bushle Kmara. One says it's scorched tamarim, dates that are scorched on the tree. V'chadamar Tamrei Dezika, and the other one learns that it is the tamar, the date that was dislodged from the wind prematurely. Tnan, Rabbi Yehuda Oimer Kol Shehu Min Klala Ein Mevarchin Alov. Rabbi Yehuda says you would not make a bracha on anything min klala, including the noivlois. Bishlam l'man damar bushle kamra haini dekarile min klala. It's good according to the one who explains that noivlois is referring to that which is scorched from the tree. Then we understand what Rabbi Yehuda is arguing when he says it's a min klala. El l'man damar tamre dezike mein min klala. But the other opinion that says that it's the wind that prematurely dislodged the tamar from its tree, why is it a min klala? There's nothing intrinsically wrong about the tamar. Says the Gemara, Ashara. You're right. Rabbi Yehuda is not arguing on that. He's arguing on the other 2 things. He's arguing on the locusts, and he's arguing on the vinegar. On that he says it's a min klala, you don't make a bracha shahakol. There are those that say Bishlam Lamanda Omar Boshle Kamro Haindim Varchin Alehen Shahakol. According to the one who says that it's the tamarim that got scorched on the tree. Therefore, we understand very good why the bracha is Shahakol Niya Bidvoroi. El Lamanda Omar Tamre Dezika Shahakol Borei Priya Eitmi Boile Livruchi. The other opinion who says that it was dislodged by the wind. So why should you get a bracha of shahakol according to Tana Kama? It should be a bracha of bari pri ha'etz. Ella b'noivlois stamo kuli amaloi pligid b'shule kamra ninu. When it says noivlois alone, then it refers to that which is scorched from the tree. That everybody agrees to. Ki pligi b'noivlois tomorrow. They're arguing about noivlois of tomorrow, that's called. As follows, this nan. There's a Mishnah that says, Hakalin shebedemai. Now, demai refers to those things that are not clear whether they were taking trumas and maisers from. And therefore, since an Am Ha'aretz is suspect, maybe he didn't take the trumas and maisers. When a person buys such grains, such things from the Am Ha'aretz, then misafek he has to take trumas and maisros. It says in this Mishnah there are certain things that are called kalin shebedemai. They're light of the demai, meaning to say that they're very cheap things that even an Am Ha'aretz is not suspect that he didn't take trumas and maisers from, because he's not going to have the additional benefit of keeping much for himself because it's not anyways worth very much. It says over here a list: hashisin, veharimin, vehauzdredin, b'nois suach, ub'nois shikma, v'goifnin, v'nitzbe, v'noivlois tomorrow. And the end of that Mishnah says noivlois tomorrow. So there's different type of noivlos referring to a novlos tomorrow. She's seen them out. The Gemara explains each one of these things. Omar Rabbe bar Chana Omar B'yoichan min te'enim. They're a type of figs. Rimin kindi. It's what you call in English a lotus. Ha'uzdrin tulshi. Uzdrin refers to something that's similar to a pear. B'nois shuach. Omar Rabbe bar Chana Omar B'yochanan te'enei chivarta. These are white figs. B'noi shikma Omar Rabbe bar Chana Omar B'yochanan duvle. There are certain other types of figs. Gufnin Shili Gufne refers to those late season types of grapes. Nitzpe, this we had contact with before, a few daf before. This is pircha. These are the cape berries that we discussed at length. Noivlois tomorrow. Novlois tomorrow is novlos that are tomorrow. These are the type of novlos that fall off, these tmorim that fall off of the tree. Rabbi Eloi, Rabbi Zera. This is the machlokes. Chadamar bushle tomorrow. One says that it's the same thing as a novlos stama. It refers to that which was scorched on the tree. That's novlos tomorrow. The chadamar tamre dezika. And the other one says why novlos tomorrow is tamre dezika. In other words, again, everybody agrees that the novlos stama is that which is scorched. The machlokes is by this what's called novlos tomorrow. Is it that which is scorched, or is it the tamarim that are then dislodged from the wind? Bishlam alamanda amar bushle kamro hayni kidiktani hakalin shebedamai sveikenhu the potter ha vaday chayiv. It's going according to the one who explains that the novlos tomorrow referring to that which is scorched on the tree. Then we understand why the demai, if it's safek, it's potter. However, if it's vaday, it would be chayiv to take chumas and maisus from. El lamanda omar tamari dezika vadoin chayiv hefker ninhu. Why would it be chayiv if it's vaday? Hare, it's hefker. By the way, if we see that it's thrown off by the wind, so certainly whoever then owned the tree is going to be mafkir it. So why are we saying that if it's vada, you would take then chumas and maisros? It would be hefker. Hachamayaskina says the Gemara she'osen gairon, because the person made a pile when it was finished, and thereby it became chayiv in chumas and maisros. The Amar Rabbi Yitzchok, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Mishum Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, haleket v'ashichach v'apeya she'osen gairon hukbu l'maiser. We know that an ani who gets matnas anim, like lekes shichav and peya, he doesn't have to take trumas and maisers from that. But if he then makes a pile when it's finished, a large pile, then it becomes chayiv in trumas and maisers, and that's what happened over here as well. Ike da amre, there are those that say, bishlam lamanda omar tamre de zika hainu da hacha karile novlois stama. It's good according to the one who said that the definition of tamra of the novlois tomorrow is tamre de zika, is the tamarim that were then blown off and dislodged by the wind. Then it says the hacha karile nova stama. That's why it refers to them as nova stama v'hasam karile tomorrow. That there's two different names, because by novlois stam there it refers to the scorched tamar, but over here when it says novlois tomorrow, it refers to that which was dislodged by the wind. So then it's very good that it has two different names. El lamand amar bushle kimara, the one who says it's scorched from the sun. So then nisini idi v'idi novlois tomorrow, or idi v'idi novlois stama. So then be consistent and say it's called either this or it's called that, because they both mean the same thing according to this mandamar. They're both referring to the tamar that was scorched on the tree. The Gemara ends with a kasha, at least as a question, as a difficulty. The Gemara now quotes our Mishnah that says if a person has in front of him different types of minim, so there's a machlokes. Rabbi Yehuda says you make the bracha that has of the shiva minim. And according to the Chachamim, the lashon of the Chachamim is that he makes a bracha al eza mehen sheyirtze. Says our Gemara Amar Ula, machlokes the machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and the Chachamim is when the two fruit have the same bracha. For example, let's say an apple and an olive. The Rabbi Yehuda savar min shiva adif, v'Rabbanan savrei min chaviv adif. Rabbi Yehuda said you make a bracha on the olive because that's of the shiva minim, and therefore that takes precedence. Whereas the Chacham say, if you prefer to eat the apple, and you prefer that over the olive, of course you're going to be eating both of them, but you prefer the apple over the olive, then you would make a bracha on the apple. Aval b'she'ein birkosein shavois, but when the bracha is different, divrei hakol mivarch al zeh v'chozeh mivarch al zeh. But if the two peiros are different brachos, one is bori priya eitz, while the other one is Bari Priya Adama, then certainly you would make a bracha on each one separately. Meisvei asked the Gemara from the following brisa: Hoyu lefonov tsnoin v'zayis. If he has in front of a radish, which gets the bracha Bari Priya Adama, and zayis olive, which requires the bracha Bari Priya 8, mevarech ala tsnoin upoiter es hazayis. Make a bracha on the tsnon Bari Priya Adama and poiter up the zayis, which is normally a bracha Bari Priya 8. Says the Gemara, no, hachab mayaskinan, because that was contradictory to what we just said. We said you would make a bracha on each one. Says the Gemara, no, it's not a kasha. Hachab mayaskinan kishat soinen ikir. We're talking about over here where the tsoinen was ikir, only the radish was so sharp that he needed to eat an olive to then break the sharpness of the radish. So therefore he made a bracha Bari Priya Adama on the radish, and that was poiter the olive that he's eating only as a result of just trying to then, again, to neutralize the sharpness of the radish. Ihochi asked the Gemara, Ema Seifa. If that's so, then look at the Seifa of this brisa. Rabbi Yehuda Oimer mevarech ala zayis, sha'azayis min shiva. Rabbi Yehuda says you do make a bracha on the zayis because it means shiva, and if you're eating the zayis only because a tafel to the ikr, you really only want to eat the radish, but you can't eat the radish alone because it's too sharp. So you also eat the olive. So then why is Rabbi Yehuda saying over here in the end of this brisa that you would make a bracha on the olive because it's of the shiva meaning? Says the Gemara, Lesle Rabbi Yehuda hodesnan koshu ikir v'imo tfela mevarch ala ikir poiter as tfela. Are you going to suggest that Rabbi Yehuda does not hold of this principle when you have an ikir and you're making a bracha on the ikir, it's poiter as hatofel? If you're going to suggest that indeed Rabbi Yehuda argues on this principle, v'hatanya, behold, it says in the brisa, Rabbi Yehuda oimer im machmas tznoin bo hazayis mevarich ala tznoin and poiter hazayis. Rabbi Yehuda himself says that if you're eating because of the tznon, because of the radish, then you're only making a bracha on the radish, and the Bari Priya Adama will then pater up the zayis that he's also eating. Says the Gemara, la'olam b'tznoin ikir askinim. We're talking about b'tznoin being the ikir, and it's going to be toiter es hatofel the zayis. V'chi pligi Rabbi Yehuda Rabbanon b'milsa achriti pligi. But what they're arguing about is something else. V'chisure mechsera, and there are words that are missing, and they have to fill in. V'hachi ketani, this is what's written in the brisa. Hayu lefon of tznoin v'zayis. If you have two things in front of you, both a radish and an olive, then mevarich ala tznoin upoiter hazayis Bari Priya Adama. You'll make a bracha Bari Priya Adama on the tznon, and that will pater up the zayis. But when is this true that you make a bracha Adama that's going to pater up also the zayis? Kishat tznon ikir, when you really only want to eat the tznon, the radish. Aval ein hatznoin ikir divrei hakom mevarich al zeh v'chayz mevarich al zeh. But if you're not only eating the radish because you only want the radish, but you're eating the radish and separately you're also eating the olive, you want both of them, then certainly you'll make a bracha on both. The shnei minim ba'alma shmir kosei and shavos. The Brisa continues to say, if you have two items, two fruits with the same bracha, mevarch al eze mehen sheyirtze. According to the Rabbanan, you make a bracha on the one that you prefer. Rabbi Yehuda oimer mevarch al hazayis memin shiva. Rabbi Yehuda says no, you'll make a bracha on the olive because the olive of the is of the shiva's meaning, and therefore that takes precedence. Says the Gemara, pligi bo Rabbi Ami Rabbi Yitzchok nafcha. They argue about the following: Chad amar machloikis kishebir kosei and shavos. One says the argument between these Tanoim, Rabbi Yehuda and the Chachamim, is when the bracha is the same between these two fruits. The Rabbi Yehuda savar min shiva odif, v'Rabbanan savar min chaviv odif. That the machlokes Rabbi Yehuda says you take the olive as a precedence because of the shiva meaning, and the Chachamim say if you prefer the radish, in this case you prefer the apple, which has the same bracha, then you make a bracha on the apple. But if the brachas are different, it's a olive and a radish, then you'll make a bracha both on the olive as well as on the radish. The other one says What is the machlokes between Rabbanon and Rabbi Yehuda? Chad Amar Af B'she'ein Birkos Shavos Nami Machlokes. Even when the brachos are not the same, you have one that is Bori Priya 8 and the other one is Bori Priya Adama. Still, there's a machlokes in Rabbi Yehuda and the Chachamim. So Gemara has to explain that. Bishlama Lamanda Omar B'shekir Birkos Shavos Machlokes. To explain the machlokes when the brachos are the same, that's understood. Then it's Shapir. Elamanda Omar B'shein Birkosein Shavo is Pligi, but to say that there's a machlokes when the brachos are not the same, that needs to be explained. But my Pligi, what are they arguing about? Omar Rabbi Yirmiyahu lahakdim. Rabbi Yirmiyahu says they're arguing about the din kedima of the brachos. The Omar Rabbi Yosef v'iteim Rabbi Yitzchok kol hamukdam bepasuk zeh mukdam lebracha. Whatever is earlier in the pasuk itself, that gets the precedence. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, Eretz chita sa'ira v'gefen te'ena v'rimoin Eretz zayis shemen udvash. These 7 are the list of the Shiva minim. So according to them, the order is its preference. And therefore, if a person wants to eat wheat raw, he's kaisis achitim. We saw earlier the bracha is bari pri ha'adama. If then he wants to also, at the same sitting, which is in front of him, he has grapes, which is bari pri ha'etz. So according to this opinion, then he'll make a bracha on the wheat, which is early on in the pasuk, Baruch Hashem bari pri ha'adama, and then afterwards make bari pri ha'etz on the anavim.